I'm coming to you on my alternate channel. So the YT Thought Police has eliminated It's a Sick World channel for right now. So I expected that because the channel wasn't getting enough support. You know, it wasn't getting enough likes and subscribes. And it's ironic if you talk about God or the LORD, you get a caution put on your channel. You know, if you talk about love and peace and joy, you know, you see the bar up at the top, the warning bar, and it's like, are you sure you want to play this? This channel is talking about love thy neighbor and peace and love and joy and all of that type of stuff, you know. And that doesn't fit in. That doesn't fit in with the narrative now. But just to let you know, I'm putting hand cream on. I'm doing everything on the run. Normally I would be set up, but I'm a little bit upset. I'm a little bit upset about what YouTube did. So I will probably do like I did before and wipe out the whole It's a Sick World channel. What's up, Ian? If you will please spread the word that the YouTube Thought Police have locked me out of my other channel because according to, and let me know if you hear me okay, I'm wearing the mic because it's getting late at night and I'm considerate of my neighbors. I'm okay. Will you let me know if the volume is okay? What's up, Shark? But if any of you, the poop like a champion box is falling over, I'm not really worried about that. The important thing is that free speech is gone in America. My other channel got locked out because Donald sent me an American flag hat, and I dared to wear the American flag hat while I made a video. And so YT, you know, Thought Police community guidelines, they see that the American flag as a symbol of hate speech now. I never thought I would live to see the day. I never thought that I would live to see the day. Yeah, I got the notice. It's a Sick World is locked out. I mean, there are old videos on that channel, but I can't make any new ones. And I'm just going to wipe the channel out in retaliation, like I did with Welcome to Will's World. Welcome to Will's World, I wiped that out. I wiped out it said that the no, it said see, the thumbnail had the American flag hat in the thumbnail, and it said if you look at the video, it's got that little teeny circular thumbnail with a bare little picture of my face, and that's it. They wiped out the American flag part of the thumbnail. And I understand that. You read people's comments, and they say that when they drive down the street and they see American flags waving, that they think that they're in some sort of hillbilly militia neighborhood, and they're afraid of the American flags, and they have to have a cup of hot chocolate and a warm blankie and all this other stuff. I'm just letting you know that in retaliation, I will most likely wipe out It's a Sick World. I'll wipe out all the videos, wipe out the channel, and YouTube can go ahead and be dumbed down to videos about puppies and clowns and kittens and balloons. But what I'm saying is, it's a whole mob mentality. See, America was started as a constitutional republic, okay? That means that it had a constitution that was based on the one true living God, and that our rights and privileges came from God. America was not started as a democracy, okay? It was not started as a democracy. It was started as a constitutional republic. A democracy is just mob rule. It's the majority of whatever mob wants things this way or that way. That's why there's this constant fight back and forth in America now. I knew it was coming because back when I was graduating from school and the hippie movement started, all of the kids were like, well, we're going to start tearing our clothes and growing our hair long and skipping bathing and all that. I was like, I'm not. I live in the richest country on the planet, and I'm going to come to school in my three-piece suit and tie or a sports shirt, nicely dressed, well-mannered. And they're like, well, you're just going to be a square. See, I was smart. I knew that when Americans started dressing and acting like rag pickers, that the country would eventually spiral down. Even as a young person, I wasn't anybody's fool, okay? When I went to high school, well, it's one of those things, the election is a farce. That's why I'm not voting. I didn't bother to vote this time. Why bother to vote when they're setting ballot boxes on fire, and every other day they're trying to wipe out 45? I mean, somebody threw an improvised device at him again, and one of his bodyguards had to throw their body on it or knock it out of the way or something like that, you know. So, it's just so ridiculous now. It's so ridiculous that the way that we vote in our country now is just like a third world banana republic. So, yeah, it's compulsory for you to vote in Australia, but they took away your self-defense. You know, the guy who played Crocodile Dundee, I understand, was wiped out because he got out a knife that was too long, and he got SHOT. Is that correct, Eon? Is that Crocodile Dundee, the actor, got wiped out because he whipped out a knife and they capped him? I was going to do an entirely different video tonight. I was going to do it on the North K rocket. The North K rocket that they tested, that sucker flew for 84 minutes, okay? It was their most successful test yet, and that means that they can strike New York, they can strike anywhere in the United States now, from Alaska, New York, California, any place from North K, Rocket Man can now strike us. And you know, it was like we were talking about the election 3 months ago, and it's like time is speeding up. I'm actually one of those people that believes that time is speeding up, because if you think about it, as all of the planets expand going out into space and they're covering a longer distance, time would have to speed up, because otherwise the space-time fabric would tear. Think of it this way. Have you ever seen people in a race and the person on the inner loop is here, and then the person in the outer loop gets a really long head start because they're traveling further in the race than the person on the inner loop, okay? They didn't used to compensate for that. It used to be everybody started in a line, okay? I didn't smoke anything. If I'm talking above what you can comprehend, then I'm sorry. I'm sorry if you don't understand quantum mechanics and physics and all of that other stuff. I mean, when I went to school, we were taught Latin, algebra, biology, chemistry, social studies, geography, geology, anything that would help you get a job. And now they're just teaching wokeism, and they're teaching kids the sucka chucka on the down low. And they go out into the world, they haven't a clue about anything. They can't get a job. They weren't taught to be polite, so they end up being capped, you know. They end up being capped by some cop that's too fat to run after them, so he tracks them down with a bullet, you know. Yeah, okay, I understand you were joking, you know. No hurt, no foul. I just don't think that anyone who's ever running away should be SHOT in the back, because the person chasing them is not physically fit enough. So he says stop in the name of the law, and then he lets the bullet do the talking, you know. If you can't run after the person, let them get away for right now, and, you know, report them on the radio, let somebody up the block stop them. But if they're running away, you know, you don't shoot them in the back just because, you know, you want to talk to them and they ran away from you. As long as they're not coming towards you and they're not a physical threat to you, you know. So years ago, I used to donate to the police auxiliary fund in my area. And then I was at the front desk of the hotel, and a man came in. He was short of breath. And so I went out into the lobby, and I took his pulse and everything. I worked in a nursing home before. I determined that he was going tacky. He was in tachycardia, which is where your heart beats so fast that it just quivers. It's not pumping blood, it's just quivering. And the man was short of breath and sweaty and about to have a major heart attack. So I administered oxygen, and in any case, the police showed up first, and he took the oxygen away, and he said the ambulance will be here in 4 or 5 minutes. I said, officer, this man will be gone in 4 or 5 minutes. He's in tachycardia, and oxygen has nothing to do with administering any medicine or anything like that, it's always proper to administer oxygen in this case. And the officer grabbed the canister away, and he said, well, we'll let the ambulance crew, decide. I said, officer, I said, could you go 4 or 5 minutes without breathing? Can you do that? You're asking this man to go 4 or 5 minutes without being able to breathe while he waits on the ambulance. He's not going to be here in 4 or 5 minutes. Then the officer threatened me with interfering with his investigation or whatever. He said, I said, well, officer, you're in my hotel, you're in my lobby. This man came in and asked me for help. I used to work in a nursing home, and I'm obligated to help the man. If I didn't help the man and the man passed away, and the newspapers or whatever found out that I had not helped the man when I was able to, it was a double-edged sword that the hotel could have gotten sued, if I didn't help the guy. So I administered oxygen, which is always, okay. You don't give somebody something to eat or drink because they can aspirate that and choke that. I understand. But oxygen is always, okay. Yes, he survived. It turned out he was living at the homeless shelter up the street, and he didn't like the environment, so he would sneak out at night. And I told the guy, I said, John, these people do not like you. And I said, you keep sneaking out at night, the cops are going to get you or something going to get you. And I said, I can't have you keep coming to the hotel, and burdening the hotel. So it's bad for everybody. But I said, you taking a risk, just stay at what the grassroots people have provided you. They got you a room and all of that other stuff with a kitchenette and his own place, but the guy get lonely or whatever and he wants some smoke and he goes out and gets himself into a situation, and then the cops and the ambulance got to be called every time. And they only allow that a few times, I can tell you, because last time I went to the hospital, they have these nice expressions for everything. They call it passive elderly care. And what they did when I went to the hospital last time, I got passive elderly care, which is a 70-year-old man with a beard, and they pushed me into a room with no water, no clock to tell when to take my medicine, no access to my medicine, and no monitoring. What they were doing essentially is waiting for my heart to beat out from high blood pressure and then toe tag me. So I called out very nicely, yeah, that's fine, Robert. So remember, if you don't have a father or a grandfather, God is the father to the fatherless. So you don't have to be lonely, okay? You don't need me. You need a relationship with God through Jesus Christ. And you need to turn off the rap music and the TV and all. Get alone with God. Just imagine the creator of the whole universe cares about you more than you ever know. And he sent his son to die on a cross for you, even when you were at enmity with God, which means that you were an enemy of God. If you're not born again and blood-washed, spirit-filled child of God, you're at enmity, okay? Well, you're happier by yourself, okay, for right now, until the stuff hits the fan. All of this stuff is starting to cut loose. You figure, use your logic, okay? It's just days before the election. They're putting up spiked fence around the Capitol. Spiked fence, okay? They have changed the DOD directive, okay? It's like 5204.01 DOD directive that says that they can use lethal force. Now, read it carefully. It says they can use lethal force on protesters, not rioters, not somebody who's burning a building down or breaking in somewhere. It says they can use lethal force on protesters. So you could be peacefully protesting and get yourself SHOT, just like they did in Ohio. Years ago, it was in the 70s in Ohio, okay? 70s in Ohio, and they sent out the National Guard, and they unalived 4 young people who were protesting. The one person, yeah, look it up, 4 dead in Ohio. That was in the 70s. And this person went up to one of the National Guardsmen to put a flower in their rifle, and they got capped. So, Joshua, you have what's called the normalcy bias, okay? That's when you don't want to look into what's really going on. Yes, it was on the college campus. Yep. 4 dead in Ohio. They wrote a song about it. But you have the normalcy bias. You're probably sitting at home on your butt playing PlayStation, and you're like, nah, God's not real. None of that's real. Prophecy's not unfolding. You know, North K and their, North K and Little Rocket Man, that's no big deal. Nothing's a big deal. And then when that flash happens and you get a 15,000 degree sunburn for a split second, you're going to say, oh my gosh, they were right, before you blow away like a leaf down the street. So, hitting the range, okay. Yep. Joshua, I'm not impressed at all. I mean, I'm not impressed. Am I supposed to be impressed? So, am I supposed to be shaken up that you say you're a lefty GUN owner? So, I mean, it's going to be bad. It's going to be bad either way. If 45 gets back in, Antifa and BLM are going to go right back to burning the cities down. If Kamala wins, and she is going to win, okay? Well, that's very nice of you to say, Joshua, that I mean nothing to you. Aren't you a nice person? You're really a sweetie, you know? It amazes me, the cold-heartedness of people. Just like a dog in a pan or a shark. When sharks eat their prey, their eyes roll back into their head, and they have this cold, deadly look. That's the way people are now. So, am I supposed to cry, Joshua, that I don't mean anything to you? Do I need a hot chocolate and a warm blankie? Let me get Pedro. So, thank you, Ohio. Thank you. Oh gosh, the microphone slipped off. Oh gosh, where's Pedro? There's Alligator. What is being up, Pop Pop? How are you being doing tonight? I'm fine, Allie. I'm fine. I was looking for Pedro though. Have you seen Pedro? No, I've not been seen to Pedro. I do not know where he's been. All right, well you go back over here. Let me find Pedro. All right. Pedro, Josh says that he doesn't care about me, and I'm just heartbroken. Oh, Daddy, I love you, Daddy, and I love everybody out there. I know you do, Pedro. You're a good guy. So I got Pedro, even if Josh doesn't like me. I got Pedro. And when I get done here, I'm going to get a warm cup of hot chocolate and a blankie and a coloring book and a safe room and all that stuff. Oh, boy. So, Josh is not a true American. I don't know about that. Good night, Josh. I hope to see you when you're in a better mood. I would much rather have the company of your wiener dogs than people like Josh. Oh, that scared me for a second because before the line, advanced, it said on my end, you'd rather have the company of your wiener. And then the next line popped down and it said dogs out the next line. But for a split second, it said you'd rather have the company of your wiener. And I was looking at it, and I was like, wow, Well, Donovan, you forget about, what is it, the amendment number 14? And that one guy, I forget his name, he said that even if Trump wins, that they're going to disallow the election. So, Slender, what's up? Slender's in the house. How come someone at the level of a president can't accept loss with honor? Hillary didn't. Hillary talked about 2016. I mean, she wrote a book about 2016 being rigged and she was cheated and all. But then when Donald said he was cheated, everybody said, well, he's a conspiracy nut and he ought to be locked up and all that other stuff. I'm not political, but quid pro quo. Slender, I was going to talk about something else tonight, but the YouTube thought police locked me out of my channel. They locked me out of my channel for wearing an American flag hat just prior to an election. I was wearing my American flag hat. So what they did was they cropped the thumbnail to omit the American flag hat because according to community guidelines, the American flag is now seen as a hate symbol. So Medicated, that's nice of you to greet the other people. That's nice of you to greet the other people on channel. See, Joshua, this is a person that's got a heart and polite and all that other stuff. So good for them. But what I'm saying, fam, is when a channel doesn't get enough likes and subscribes, that's when YouTube goes after it. For right now, I've got all these people on channel. We're talking. I only have 4 likes, okay? And that's exactly what I'm talking about, is when you don't hit that like and subscribe button. When you don't hit that like button, YouTube goes after that channel. And that's what they did to It's a Sick World. And so the channel died. And I'm just going to wipe it out. I'll wipe out all the videos and wipe out everything. And then YouTube can just have their puppy and clown and kitten and balloon channels, talking about oatmeal and Splenda and stuff like that. So it's the 12th Amendment. I haven't read through the amendments in a while. We were obligated to when I went to school over a half a century ago. So I still remember Latin and all that other stuff from school. But the thing that I wanted to talk about, I originally was going to talk about, yes, I'm in Maryland in USA. So I'm in Maryland and Hawaii. I never got to Hawaii. I always wanted to go to Oahu. So always wanted to go to Oahu, and I never made it. I got to clip the mic back on for a second. So, Slender, I've never been to West Virginia. Is the volume still okay? I just moved the mic and reclipped it. Yeah, I imagine it is pretty. My brother went to West Virginia, and it's a funny story. It's hysterical. My brother is from Damascus, and that's another town in Maryland, Damascus. But in any case, he went to West Virginia. And he pulled into a gas station, and he asked the attendant, is there any good place to skinny dip? It was a hot day, and my brother wanted to skinny dip. So the gas station guy told him where to skinny dip at this quarry. So my brother drives out to this quarry, trespasses, takes off all of his clothes, and he's swimming in the quarry, okay? The gas station guy is a few minutes behind him with the tow truck, and he tows my brother's car away, and then my brother gets arrested absolutely naked. My brother gets arrested absolutely naked for trespassing, swimming in this quarry. And in the meantime, they've towed his car away, and they've taken his clothes. And so my brother's standing there talking to the sheriff, who handcuffs him and takes him off to jail butt naked. So my father had to drive all the way to West Virginia to rescue him and pay to have the car unimpounded and pay the fine and all that other stuff. So that's my brother for you. Now, I got to tell you, I did the same thing because when I was a kid, I worked on a garbage truck, and it was like 100 degrees out. It was 100 degrees out, and 4 of us had gotten off of work, and we were all hot and sweaty, and we were young. I was like 17. So in any case, my friend had a 71 Chrysler Newport, a great big Chrysler, and we drove up to this creek We drove up to this creek and we got out of the Chrysler, four of us, Ken and Jimmy and Roy, myself, and Ken, Jimmy, Roy, myself, and maybe somebody else, I don't remember. We got out of the Chrysler next to the creek, which was next to a highway, all right? And we put all of our clothes in the trunk of the Chrysler so that nobody could steal our clothes while we were in the creek. And we're swimming around in the creek in our underwear. And this lady comes down, and boy, she had nerve. I would never have approached four men in a creek swimming in their underwear, as rough as we looked. Okay? Because Roy was the oldest of us. He was like 45. The rest of us, Ken and I, were teenagers. Jimmy was like 20-something. Roy was like 45. And Roy was this hillbilly who had just gotten out of lockup because when he was a kid, he used to run Shine. And in any case, somebody came up to his car, and things happened back and forth. And Roy shot the guy in the face with his 12 gauge, and it blew the guy's head off. And Roy was just a kid, all right? And he turned to me and he said, "Will, I thought it were salt, but it were lead." So he thought that the 12 gauge was full of salt. But in any case, it was buckshot. And it blew the guy's face off. And the kid and Roy went to juvie. And then when he got old enough, they transferred him to a full-time prison, and he got out when he was 45. And so Roy was teaching me how to drive this great big truck, and I was just a kid. I was at that point 16, maybe 17. I must have been 16 because my little boy got run over when I was 17. My girlfriend ran over our little boy with our own car, but that's another story. But I'm in this great big auto car roll-off truck, and Roy is teaching me how to shift it and all. And he's wearing these cut-off jeans, and his legs have got all kinds of shot marks and stab marks and everything. His legs are all cut up from fights in prison, and he's got all the trash tattoos and all. And then when he told me that he had accidentally blown this other guy's face off, I started scratching the door of the truck, reaching for the door handle to get out because I was afraid. I was afraid of him. So, long story short, this girl and I went to a what are those meetings, those dreadful meetings that they're not Kiwanis or Rotary, they're like these clubs, service clubs that old timers get together, and they yes, my son's in heaven. That's another story, very painful. But in any case, I took this girl out to one of these old man clubs, you know, where the vets get together and all that other stuff. And the funny thing was, the girl only had one eye, and she had poor depth perception driving a car, and she kept driving almost into the oncoming lane, which was very scary, before we even arrived at the It was Elk Club or Moose Club or something like that. Okay. So Roy had been dating this girl. I didn't know Roy had been dating the girl. And Roy takes his 12 gauge and he goes after my friend Kenny. And he says, "Where's Will? Will's got my woman." And so Kenny didn't know. He didn't know that I was at the Moose Club or the Elk Club, having a high old time with this one-eyed girl. So Roy takes his shotgun and he lowers it down to Kenny's face, and we all knew what Roy had done before. And then just before he lets off a shot, he lifts the gun up and it barely clears Kenny's head. So this man was stone crazy. So in any case, Kenny wet himself, and Roy was convinced that Kenny didn't know where I was that night with his woman. And when I found out that he was the one-eyed girl's boyfriend, boy, I dropped that like a rock. So, but in any case, this is the good part, getting back to the four of us being in this creek. And this very brave woman comes down and she said, "This creek is on my property and you men got to get out of here. I'm calling the cops." So she goes walking back towards her house. We get out of the creek and we're running for the Chrysler, okay? And we tell Kenny, "All right, open up the trunk so we can get our clothes on. Let's get the heck out of here." And Kenny had a cleft palate. He goes, "Oh no, I got you in the trunk." And we're like, "What?" My keys are in my pants in the trunk." We're like, "Your keys?" Yeah, we were still in our underwear. And Jimmy had a big sports stripe on his underwear. Big old sports stripe. He had racing underwear. So, in any case, oh gosh. It amazes me. There's always somebody who has to ruin it. Always somebody who's got to ruin it. So, in any case, Kenny locked his keys to the car in the trunk. Yes, I timed him out. Thank you. Kenny locked his keys to the car in the trunk of the Chrysler. So Kenny was very articulate, and he had this little toolkit under the driver's seat of the car. So here we are, four garbage collectors standing around this Chrysler in our underwear, taking the back seat out of the car, and it had this crisscross piece of metal, a brace or whatever, that went into the trunk. And so two of us took Kenny and we threaded him into the trunk via the back seat access, and he felt around and he got his pants and the keys, and he came outside and unlocked the trunk, and we were all dancing around in the mud trying to get our pants back on and get in the Chrysler and leave before the cops came. So I guess my brother and I are both cut from the same cloth. But looking back on it, it was funny. It was funny. I had a lot of things because I worked full time since I was 14 years old, and I went to school half a day, and then I worked at an Esso gas station till 10:30 at night for $9 a day. And then there was a garbage collector who said he would pay me $20 a day. And so I left the gas station, went to work for the garbage guy, and he didn't tell me it was from dark in the morning till dark at night, absolutely getting the crap beat out of me if I didn't pick up enough garbage fast enough to suit him. And so I left him and I went to work for another company. What's up, Balu? So I went to work for another company, and I ended up driving one of those trucks with the forks on it. So I drove it through Rockville, Amico, literally drove it through the gas station by accident and knocked it down. And so they didn't fix the gas station. They just plowed it all into the ground, and they built Rockville Medical Station. So as I was learning to drive this truck, they sent me out to College Park to pick up this dumpster on a hill. And I wasn't really good with the clutch. So I'm trying to stab the dumpster to dump it. And this lady is in this office building, and she's seeing the truck and the dumpster come closer and closer and closer to her window. And she's typing on her typewriter, and she's looking out the window while I'm getting ready to knock this second building down with this truck. So I panicked. I could not get the truck in reverse. For the life of me, I could not get the truck in reverse. And I kept grinding the gears and pumping the air down. And the truck was getting closer and closer, pushing the dumpster towards his window. That the ladies on the other side of the window looking at this garbage truck that's getting ready to crush yet another building. I would have been 2 for 0. So, in any case, I started to cry. Again, I was just a kid. I was 16 years old by this time. Yeah, just barely 16. I didn't have the driver's license for the truck. Nobody ever asked me for a driver's license. And so, in any case, I called my boss, and he was all the way out at Millersville toward the beaches. I told him to come and help me. And so, in any case, 45 minutes later, this Chevy Impala pulls up with my boss. He's so angry, he put the car in park while the car is still moving, and the car is bouncing as he parks it. He gets in the truck, he stands up, pushes down the clutch, wham, puts the truck in reverse, backs it up, and pulls it out into the street, yells at me to stop being a PUSSY and drive the truck. So now the truck is in the middle of Route 1 in College Park on a holiday weekend with people wanting to go to the beach and everything. And my boss is yelling at me with the truck in the middle of Route 1. So I start to cry because I'm so upset and everything. And so people are going by the truck and they're going, "Will, it's okay. Get in the truck and drive it. Herb loves you. It's okay. He loves you." So Kenny, who lived in College Park at the time, sees this great big traffic jam and a garbage truck, and he figures, well, it's got to be Will. Got to be Will. So he drives up in a 1971 Cadillac Eldorado that his uncle gave him with the Superfly headlights and the music bars on the roof, a real pimp mobile with the luggage rack on the trunk. And he pulls up now in the other lane, so Route 1 is blocked on both sides, and he's trying to talk to me, and of course he's got the hair lip, and he's like, "Will, it's okay to drive the truck, buddy. Just get back in the truck. Herb loves you. He's not gonna fire you. It's okay, buddy. Drive your truck, man." So, in any case, it gets so ridiculous that I pull the truck over and park it, taking up a couple of parking spaces. Kenny parks the Cadillac. Herb parks the Chevy. And we all go in and decide to get drunk at this bar. So, and see, I'm still underage, no driver's license, with this huge garbage truck parked in front of this bar in College Park. We're sitting there getting drunk, and this guy, Charlie, is wearing shorts, and this girl yells at the guy, "Hey, Charlie, show us your nuts." So the guy reaches down and he pulls his shorts up and shows this girl his branch and berries, and everybody's laughing. And we decide that it's getting too risque, with people deciding to pull their pants up and all. And Ken really had a thing against, seeing other people's privates and all that, so he gets embarrassed. He says, "You know what? It serves me right if I go outside and there's a ticket on my car." So we go outside, and sure enough, there's a ticket on his Cadillac. So Herb leaves, Ken leaves, and I'm like, wait a minute, I'm still having trouble driving this truck, but now I'm drunk. So it's one of those things that the adrenaline hits, and my heart's beating fast because now I have to drive the truck all the way from College Park to Rockville, Maryland with no help, and I've been drinking. And so actually I did quite well. After having loosened up and having a good cry and everything. And yeah, my son was a beautiful boy, brown hair, blue eyes, 2 years old. And he was playing in Grandma's driveway and pulled our station wagon up into the driveway. She was babysitting some kids. This is going to choke me up. So she pulled the station wagon up, and Timmy was playing in the driveway in the dirt. She didn't have brains enough to pull him out of the way. She goes in to get some laundry soap because she was doing laundry on the side and babysitting, and I was working 2 jobs trying to make it. And so the kids reached over the back seat and they pulled the station wagon into drive, and it just kind of crept up on Timmy, ran him over, and sat over top of him for like 15 minutes. And then when Ann came out, she was a real lunkhead. She wasn't the brightest bulb in the box. She put the station wagon in reverse and ran him over the second time. And she called me at my parents' house. I was 17 by then. Yes, I was 17. And she called me at my parents' house. She said, "Timmy is gone." And I said, "Timmy's gone? Gone where?" She said, "Gone, D-E-A-D. I said, "How? How?" She said, I ran him over with our car. I said, you ran our boy over with our car? And I collapsed on the floor like dirty laundry. I said, oh God, my boy's gone. Oh God. You know, my parents never patted me on the back or said they were sorry for me or rubbed my back or anything, or told me to go up to my room and rest. My used to be room before they kicked me out and went out of the country on vacation when I was 15. So they never said we're sorry for your loss or anything like that. And I left. I got in the car. I turned the key to start the car and forgot to let go of the key and was grinding the starter and put the car in drive. Forgot to turn the wheel, almost drove through a tree. And it was a massive car. It was a Ford Galaxy 500 with those great big cop bumpers on the front that they push cars with, and a police interceptor 352. It was either a 429 interceptor or 352. Had the cop motor. It was a cop car, cop tires with the pusher bumper. And I later gave it to my mother and bought another car. And that's another story. She ended up pushing a Datsun B210 out into traffic in retaliation for the young people yelling at her for driving too slow. But in any case, I was never able to talk to Ann after that. I could never look her in the eye. So, any case, now I'm all dried up. I'm all dried up because I went someplace in my mind where I shouldn't have gone. Don't forget to give me a thumbs up because this is my only surviving channel. So I pretty much have made up my mind. I'm going to wipe out It's a Sick World. So I'm going to wipe out all the videos. I'm going to wipe out the channel to retaliate against YouTube for locking me out of my channel for wearing an American flag hat prior to an election. So that's where I'm at. That's where I'm at. I love you all, and I will probably build up the other channel, 50s Guy and Old Pop Pop. But I think I will wipe out It's a Sick World to retaliate against YouTube locking my channel up. Pop Pop out.